I love your daughter very much and want to ask for your permission to marry her.
We are very happy for you both, son.
She has chosen well. Welcome to the family.
Here, a gift for you.
Oh, thank you so much. We hope you like it.
Yes, thank you. We love it.
Hello, dear viewers. In today's story, we witness a heartwarming family moment during the days leading up to Lunar New Year. Mr. Dai visits his granddaughter Maya, bringing with him the deep love of a grandfather who treasures every reunion. The small home is filled with laughter, the aroma of traditional Tet cakes, and the warmth of togetherness. In that meaningful moment, Huyen and Det gather their courage to ask Mr. Dai and Mrs. Sam for permission to hold their wedding after Tet. After years of waiting, overcoming challenges, and building a loving home for little Maya, they are finally ready to step into a new chapter of their lives. The most beautiful part is receiving the blessing and wholehearted support from the two elders, who have quietly watched over them and believed in their love all along. This is not just a story about a wedding. It is a story about growth, family bonds, faith, and happiness built through patience and understanding. If you enjoyed touching and meaningful family stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episodes. Your support is our greatest motivation to continue bringing you more heartfelt stories every day. The days leading up to Lunar New Year felt warmer than usual in Huyen and Dae's home, not because of the weather, but because of the joy that filled every corner of the house. On that particular morning, the sound of a familiar motorbike stopping in front of the gate made little Maya drop the toy she was holding and run toward the door with sparkling eyes. "Grandpa Dai is here!" she shouted excitedly before anyone could even announce it. Mr. Dai had come to visit his beloved granddaughter for the holiday, carrying with him not only carefully wrapped gifts, but also the quiet, steady love of a grandfather who had waited all year for this reunion. As he stepped through the gate, he was greeted by the bright red decorations hanging along the walls, the scent of fresh flowers arranged in vases, and the gentle aroma of sticky rice and mung beans being prepared in the kitchen. It was the unmistakable atmosphere of Tet, full of hope, renewal, and family. Maya rushed into his arms before he could even take off his shoes. Mr. Dai laughed heartily, lifting her up as if she weighed nothing at all. "You've grown taller again," he said proudly, brushing a strand of hair away from her forehead. Maya clung to him, eager to show him her drawings, her new dress, and the small corner she had helped decorate for the new year. To her, his visit was the greatest gift of all. Inside the house, Mrs. Sam was already there, helping Huyen in the kitchen. The two women moved in harmony, one washing vegetables while the other carefully seasoned the fillings for the traditional rice cakes. The pot simmered gently on the stove, releasing a comforting fragrance that wrapped around the entire home. Laughter drifted from the kitchen as they shared stories about the past year, their voices occasionally mixing with Maya's cheerful chatter from the living room. Dae stepped outside to help Mr. Dai bring in the gifts. There were fruits, sweets, and small red envelopes tucked neatly into a bag. "You didn't have to bring so much," Dae said respectfully, but Mr. Dai only smiled. "It's Tet. A grandfather should spoil his granddaughter at least once a year." His tone was light, yet his eyes carried deep affection. When everyone finally gathered in the living room, the house felt complete. The elders sat comfortably on the sofa, watching Maya excitedly open her presents, while Huyen brought out tea and neatly arranged snacks on the table. The steam rising from the teacups curled into the air, blending with the scent of incense from the small family altar nearby. It was the unmistakable atmosphere of Tet, full of hope, renewal, and family. Mr. Dai leaned back slightly, observing the warmth unfolding before him. He noticed how attentive Dae was toward Huyen, how gently Huyen spoke to Maya, and how naturally they moved as a family. There was harmony here, something steady and reassuring. He felt a quiet sense of pride seeing how much they had grown, how they had built a peaceful life filled with respect and love. Outside, neighbors' laughter and the distant sound of children playing added to the festive mood. Inside, time seemed to slow down. No one rushed, no one worried. It was just family. 3 generations under one roof, sharing tea, stories, and the promise of a new year. As Mr. Dai watched Maya curl up beside him, resting her head against his arm, he realized that moments like these were the true treasures of life. Tet was not just about traditions or decorations. It was about reunion, forgiveness, gratitude, and hope. And in that warm, laughter-filled home, surrounded by those he loved most, he felt that the new year had already begun in the most beautiful way possible. As the afternoon slowly turned into evening, the house grew even warmer under the golden glow of soft lights and the steady bubbling of the pot in the kitchen. The family gathered around the dining table, now filled with carefully prepared Tet dishes, steamed rice cakes, braised pork, pickled vegetables, and plates of fresh fruit arranged beautifully in the center. The atmosphere was peaceful and joyful, yet beneath the surface, Huyen and De both felt a quiet nervousness building in their hearts. They had spoken about this moment many times in private. They had imagined how they would say it, when the right time would be, and whether they would find the courage to speak clearly. Tonight felt right. With Mr. Dai and Mrs. Sam both present, with Maya laughing happily beside them, and with the promise of a new year just days away, it seemed like the perfect time to ask for their blessing. Huyen gently reached for Det's hand under the table. He squeezed her fingers softly in return, a silent reassurance that they would face this together. After everyone had finished eating and tea was poured again, Det cleared his throat politely. The small sound was enough to draw the elder's attention. "Dad? Mom Sam," he began respectfully, glancing at Mr. Dai before looking at Mrs. Sam. His voice was steady, but his heart was racing. Huyen sat beside him, her posture straight, her expression sincere. "We've been thinking carefully about our future." The room grew quieter. Even Maya, sensing the seriousness of the moment, stopped playing with her red envelope and looked up curiously. Huyen continued, her voice soft but filled with determination. "We've been together for a long time. We've gone through many challenges, and we've learned how to support each other as partners and as parents to Maya. We believe it's time for us to officially become husband and wife." Det nodded firmly. "After Tet, we would like to hold our wedding ceremony. We hope to receive your permission and blessing." For a brief second, the air felt still. The ticking of the wall clock seemed louder than usual. Huyen's heart pounded as she searched Mr. Dai's face for any sign of disapproval. This decision was not made lightly. They had waited for stability, for the right financial moment, for emotional readiness, and for the assurance that their relationship had been tested by time. They had faced misunderstandings, moments of doubt, and the pressures of daily life. Raising Maya required patience and teamwork, but through every difficulty, they had chosen each other again and again. Their love was no longer impulsive or uncertain, it was mature, grounded, and deeply rooted in shared responsibility. Mr. Dai leaned back slightly, his expression thoughtful. He looked at Huyen, remembering the young woman she once was, hesitant, unsure of her future. Now she sat before him with confidence and calmness. Then he turned his gaze to De, noticing the seriousness in his eyes, the protective instinct he always showed toward Maya and Huyen. Mrs. Sam placed her teacup down gently. She had witnessed their journey closely. She had seen the way Det came home tired from work, but still made time to help Maya with her lessons. She had seen how Huyen managed the household with quiet strength. Their love was not loud, but it was steady. Finally, Huyen spoke again, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. "We don't want to wait any longer. We want to build our future properly, together, as a complete family." Her words carried not just hope, but sincerity. It was not about a grand wedding or celebration. It was about commitment, about standing side by side through the years ahead. In that warm, Tet atmosphere, surrounded by family and tradition, their request felt less like a formal announcement and more like a heartfelt promise for the future. They sat quietly, hands intertwined, waiting for the elders' response, ready to accept whatever answer would come, but hopeful that this new year would begin with their blessing. For a few long seconds after Huyen finished speaking, the room remained wrapped in a gentle silence. The soft hum of the simmering pot in the kitchen and the distant sounds of firecrackers outside seemed to echo faintly in the background. Huyen and Day kept their hands tightly intertwined, drawing strength from each other as they waited for the elder's response. Mr. Dai slowly lifted his teacup, taking a thoughtful sip before setting it down carefully on the table. His eyes, usually firm and reserved, now softened as he looked at the couple sitting before him. He had watched their journey from the very beginning, the uncertainties, the struggles, the sacrifices they made for little Maya. He had seen how they stumbled at times, but never let go of each other's hands. "My children," he finally began, his voice calm yet filled with emotion. "Marriage is not only about love, it is about responsibility, patience, and choosing each other every single day." He paused, allowing his words to settle in the quiet room. Huyen felt her throat tighten, but she kept her gaze steady. Mr. Dai continued, "I have observed both of you carefully. I have seen how you care for Maya, how you respect each other, and how you solve problems together instead of walking away." A faint smile appeared on his face. "You have already been living like a family. A wedding will only make it official." The tension that had filled Huyen's chest began to loosen, though she still waited for the final answer. Mrs. Sam gently reached across the table and took Huyen's hand in hers. Her touch was warm and reassuring. "You have waited long enough," she said softly. "Sometimes life tests us to see if our love is strong. You both have proven that it is." Her eyes shimmered with tears of pride. "If you are ready to promise each other a lifetime, then we will stand behind you." At those words, Maya suddenly clapped her hands, not fully understanding the depth of the conversation, but sensing the joy in the room. "Does that mean we're having a wedding?" she asked excitedly, her eyes shining with curiosity. Everyone laughed, the heavy atmosphere dissolving into warmth. Mr. Dai opened his arms and beckoned Maya over. "Yes, little one," he said with a chuckle. "It seems like we will." He then turned back to Huyen and Day, his expression sincere and approving. "After Tet, we will start preparing. A wedding should be a celebration of love, but more importantly, it should be a blessing from family. You have our blessing." Those simple words felt like a new sunrise. Huyen could no longer hold back her tears. She stood up and bowed her head respectfully, gratitude filling her heart. Day followed, his voice thick with emotion, as he promised, "We will take care of each other. We will build a peaceful home. We won't disappoint you." Mrs. Sam wiped her tears gently and began talking excitedly about preparations, guest lists, traditional ceremonies, and the best day to choose after the new year. The room that had been quiet moments before was now alive with hopeful planning and joyful anticipation. Outside, the evening sky shimmered with distant fireworks, their colors reflecting faintly through the window. It felt symbolic, as if the new year itself was celebrating with them. Mr. Dai leaned back once more, watching the young couple speak about their future with bright eyes and renewed confidence. In his heart, he felt a deep sense of peace. The waiting, the worries, the silent prayers he once carried had finally transformed into certainty. His family was not only growing, it was becoming stronger. That Tet gathering would be remembered not just as a reunion, but as the beginning of a new chapter, a promise sealed with love, support, and the unwavering blessing of two elders who had witnessed patience turn into happiness at last.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Live Single RV. Vậy là câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay đã kết thúc tại đây. Trong câu chuyện hôm nay của chúng ta thì bố của Huyền, bố chồng cũ của Huyền là ông Đại đã đến nông trại của Huyền để thăm Huyền và cũng như cháu nội của ông đó chính là bé May A. Trong lúc mẹ chồng của Huyền và bố chồng cũ của Huyền là ông Đại trò chuyện với nhau, Huyền và Đệ đã xin phép bố mẹ cho cô và đệ được phép tổ chức đám cưới sau khi Tết xong. Khi thấy Huyền đề cập đến chuyện cưới xin thì bà Sam đều rất là ủng hộ và rất là vui mừng vì bà đã mong chờ ngày này từ rất là lâu. Còn ông Đại thì cũng ủng hộ Huyền bởi vì Huyền bây giờ chỉ là con dâu cũ của ông mà thôi. Huyền được quyết định cuộc sống của mình, cô được quyền đi thêm bước nữa và lựa chọn hạnh phúc mới. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về câu chuyện Huyền Đệ cũng như bé May A sẽ còn được kể ở các video tiếp theo. Các bạn đừng quên bấm vào nút subscribe, đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các câu chuyện sẽ phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Live Single RV nha. Và các bạn cũng đừng quên bấm vào giỏ hàng được đính kèm trên video để mua các sản phẩm ủng hộ Huyền và Đệ nhé. Nếu các sản phẩm đó phù hợp với các bạn thì đừng quên hãy ủng hộ Huyền và Đệ. Xin cảm ơn, xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn ở tập tiếp theo. Bye bye.